loves, I'm Freya Graff and I'm a holistic sex educator and coach and yoni mapping therapist. So I did a video about how to tell if you've got sexual shame and guilt rattling around inside your psyche, and so now I want to give you some tips on how to release said shame and guilt that you might be holding. Because we all have some degree of shame and guilt from our socialization and our conditioning, and we're all in various stages of coming to terms with that and integrating or releasing. So anyway, but carrying around shame and guilt when it comes to this stuff is really detrimental to our relationship with our sensual selves, to the way that we express ourselves in the bedroom, to the level of surrender to pleasure and access to intimate connection and orgasm we have. It's basically just a massive stick in the mud, and it clip blocks us at every turn if we don't work on releasing it and dismantling the subconscious and conscious beliefs that we're holding that cause us to feel shame around our sexuality and our bodies. So what's the best thing to do about it, and how do we release this shame getting in the way of our pleasure and being a big old buzzkill? Well, my top strategy is to chip away at it bit by bit and leave it nowhere to hide by consciously curating the stuff that you put into your mind. So if you think about the amount of content or external sources of information and messaging that we take in all the time, from movies, TV, social media, school, cultural conditioning, and societal stigma and taboo, you realize that we are utterly bombarded with unhelpful and negative messaging and beliefs around sex, womanhood, vaginas, periods, female pleasure, and empowerment. So if you deliberately tip that balance of input to nurture your sex positive, body positive beliefs, you can start to overpower and rewrite those shitty messages that you've gotten from the sex negative conditioning. You do this by following lots of sex positive and feminist social media accounts, reading books and watching movies by women for women with these sort of themes around sex positivity, women's empowerment, body positivity, having more conversations with friends about sex and finding sex positive and empowered people to engage with so that you're hearing different perspectives and having convos about it all, that feel normal and free of shame. Literally, the more you talk about sex, the more you normalize it, and the less room for shame there is, to hide out. So whatever you can do to put in more sex positive information, like into your brain, will slowly start to shift the needle and dismantle the shame and guilt that you hold by basically shining a light on it and destigmatizing it for yourself. If that makes sense. So you're really tipping that balance and trying to override and rewrite all the negative influences that are bombarding you with positive ones, positive inputs and external sources. So listening to sex positive podcasts like mine, the Labia Lounge, attending events or workshops that are sex positive and help you get a proper sex education with correct and pleasure-centered information will be amazing. That kind of thing. Online courses and workshops. I actually just released a really epic 3-month online course which deals with all of this stuff directly too. So that's called Queen Out. I'll pop a link below. All of that sort of stuff will eventually replace those old beliefs and the old guilt and shame with new ideas and messages and stories and beliefs around sex and your body and pleasure. It's only a matter of time if you are continuously influencing your brain with these positive inputs and all of this stuff that challenges those old, outdated views. It doesn't happen overnight though. So, if you commit to doing this and you are curating the kind of content that comes in and the conversations you're having, the people you're around, it will gradually tip the balance so that the shame gets quieter and quieter and has less and less room to take root and dwell and fester, because you're surrounding yourself with people and conversations and media and influencers that all debunk the stigma and the taboo and conditioning that led to the shame being there in the first place. There are totally other tools and approaches that will assist this process of releasing the shame and guilt, and that's something I work with my clients on and focus on in my online offerings, but this is literally the best and most accessible place to start with it. And this is where I start with everyone, because it's actually huge what an impact that has. So I hope that was helpful and that you can begin chasing that shame and guilt out from now on. Please subscribe to stay in the loop with my work and support my plight to make sex education accessible to all, and like or share this video, with someone who it might benefit as well. I would super duper appreciate that.